Hello guys, it's me, I'm back. I hope you can hear me fine. So I am currently on the train on my way to Strasbourg to meet up with my friend Victor. I'm getting a bit hungry, it is currently 1 o'clock. So I'm looking forward to arriving in the city so I can find something to eat, a quick bite, you know. Yeah, I just figured I would shoot another video to chew the fat some more about boarding school, you know. Chewing the fat, I don't even know if that's an expression that people still use, but I learned it ages ago, I think it's school, to yap, right? Is that what it means? I'm not even sure. So that mountain range you can see in the distance here, that's the Vosges Mountains. It's spelled out Vosges. It's a bit of an odd spelling. But yeah, it's a beautiful mountain range. I go there quite a lot, hiking, you know, and visiting castles and things like that. It's a nice place. You can maybe see some of the vineyard at some point. I'm not sure, because now it's mostly fields, you know, as we're approaching the city. Yeah, so I just kept thinking about my time at the dorm and more anecdotes, you know, of things we would do, and more friends, you know. One of them, his name is Paul Son, his family name is actually Son, and I think his dad is Chinese, and he was such a funny guy, and he attended a school where he was doing an apprenticeship, where he was working on cars, you know, and changing the, I don't know, I don't have the technical words when it comes to things that I don't have any interest or any knowledge of, and that includes cars. So I don't know how you call it, but you know, basically the outside of the car, you would change them, paint them, do a paint job, things like that. So he always had, his hands were completely black from working, you know, and sanding and doing all of this hard work, you know. He was a hard-working guy, but he was also very funny, of course, on top of being hard-working. Just kind of crazy, you know. We're all crazy, like, you know, teenage years. We wanted to have a bit of fun, you know. Paulson, so many friends, man, so many friends. Everyone was in a bedroom with 3 beds, and then there would be 2 bedrooms that would share one bathroom and 1 shower, making it an actual room, you know, a room of 6, but 2 bedrooms of 3. And for most of my high school years, 2 out of 3 years, no, actually 3 out of 3 years, I was sharing a room with Paul, another Paul, there were lots of Paul, and some guy, Yaniv, the 2 of them. They were sound fellas, you know. Anyway, and we attended the same school, and we basically were taking the same classes, so it was quite good, and we were on the same year, of course, because we could work together. Oh, this is a sunflower field, that's nice, pretty neat. Yeah, and you know, we do silly things, and in my final year, my final year at the dorm, I got into this decorating mood, you know. I wanted to decorate the bedroom, put shit up the walls, you know. That's when it all started, actually. I was never really obsessed with decoration before then, but then when I was at the dorm, the walls were too blank, too empty. I figured that I need to fill them up, you know. So what I did, I remember, is I would go to the printer. We had 1 printer in the dorm, and of course it would only print in black and white, and the ink cartridges would be quite expensive for the dorm, so they asked us not to use it too much, you know. But of course I didn't give much of a damn this time, and I kept printing pictures of, you know, cool rock band logos, or, you know, Motorhead or AC/DC or shit like that, because I was way into hard rock at the time, or Nirvana, you know, things like that. And of course I was using up all the ink, and they kept having to change the cartridges. and asking who the hell is doing this, you know, who the hell is using up all the ink in the printer. And I was like, I had no clue, man. Oh, that's a big mystery. Meanwhile, the room was getting covered in like really, you know, there were like sharp contrast pictures that I would print, like using a lot of black ink and very little white, like a reverse. How do you call it again? You know what I mean? Negative print effect. So I was using up a lot of the ink, but it was cool, man. It was just decorating the whole room. And then in my final year, I was sharing the room, not the bedroom, like it was in the other smaller unit of beds. But I was sharing it with a guy, his name is Louis, another Louis, not the one who was doing Transport Fluvial, another one. And he was a sound guy, he was quite young, he was like 16 when we met and I was already 18, and he really wanted to impress girls and he kept hitting the gym and getting really jacked, you know. And he was like, oh, I'm gonna get with this girl and all that stuff, you know. I was like, sure man, sure, take it easy, you know. It was quite funny. Why am I mentioning him again? Oh yeah, because of the printing thing. Then he saw me doing this, you know, printing decoration, printing rockstars and all that. And then he started printing hot girls in bikinis, you know, from Google image you would find them, and I found that so funny. And we started to put them in the bathroom, you know, just like taking a piss basically, just being silly boys, you know, raging hormones, I guess. Yeah, that was funny. I think we accidentally smashed his bedside lamp one night because we were just like fooling around and someone just smashed it. It was quite funny. And we hid it from the how do you call them? The staff members, les surveillants, les pions. You know, they were like in their mid-20s and looking after us. They were really sound. And in that dorm there was also a telly room where sometimes when there was an important football game, for instance, or when on a way sadder note, when there were terrorist attacks at the Christmas market in, I believe it was in 2018, Christmas market of 2018, and in Strasbourg the Christmas market is a big deal. It's the biggest in all of France, and of course there are a lot of people. It's very densely packed, and my high school is very near the city center, the Cathedral of Strasbourg. And sadly there was a terrorist attack. Some lunatic knifed, stabbed to death 5 or 6 persons, something like that. Horrible, man. And it was in the middle of the week. I was in Strasbourg at the time, and everyone was so scared. We didn't know what to do. So the next day I went back to school, but I just took the train back home because, you know, I was fucked up back then. Like in the 2010s, all the terrorist attacks happening in France. There was a lot of fear going on, you know. And you can still observe some of the remnants of that in today's society, unfortunately, French society. You know. I'm sure it's the same in a lot of places though. Oh well. So that was a big deal, and the telly room was open all night, and people would come in and check on the news and see what, you know, like live news of what was happening literally half an hour away from us. You know, scary stuff, man. But in that telly room, I used to watch a lot of movies because I was in my high school. I was friends with the guy who was in charge of the local library, you know, because we would just like talk about books and movies and, you know, nerdy shit like that, I guess. And he would always recommend movies for me to watch. And in my late high school years, I was going through like this very intense movie phase. I wanted to watch all of the classic movies, you know, that are worth a watch. And the librarian was helping me out. He'd give me like stacks of DVDs like that, and I would bring them back to the high school. And me being in my final year, to the dorm, sorry, I'd bring it back to the dorm. And me being in my final year in both high school and the dorm, and also I was like my school representative for 3 years in a row. So the adults in charge, they kind of trusted me. They're like, whatever bro, do your thing. So I would have access to the telly room like most evenings and just like whack on these crazy movies. Like Full Metal Jacket was like an intense one, or we're watching a lot of Hitchcock stuff, you know, like Psycho. What other movie comes to mind? We're watching all the Quentin Tarantino stuff. It was very like, you know, these kind of movies. But we're having so much fun because I had access to the telly room, so of course my friends would tag along and go there, have some crisps, chill out and all that. It was a beautiful time in my life, honestly. It was like we say ébullition in French. It's, you know, it's the bubbling up effect when you boil some water, and that's how it felt like in my mind. You know, it's like I was opening my eyes on the world because I met so many different kinds of people at the dorm, in the high school, being in the city. You know, I was taking a theater drama lessons. I was like a drama kid, you know, one of them drama students in my high school. But that was brilliant because thanks to that class, we had access to all the different theaters in the city, and it was part of our homework, so we had to go see all of these plays and write summaries about them. And we would go to a lot of plays. It was like 2 to sometimes 5 a week, you know, just always out seeing those plays that were on in the city in different theaters. Le Maillon, le TNS, which is the National Theatre of Strasbourg, TNS. And we even went to the Festival of Avignon in between my second and third and final year of high school. So in between the second and the third year, during the summer, because the festival takes place in the month of July. I'm currently shooting this video in July, so in Avignon right now there's the big festival of Avignon. It's similar to the Fringe in Edinburgh, for reference. By essence, I mean, it's different, but the idea is similar. It's a theatre and drama and music and art type of festival taking place in the entirety of the city. So that was like a big deal, and that's what staying in the dorm for my high school years and going over that fear and staying in the dorm and being ready for the challenge and having everything be new. That was like the big opener for me, you know. I don't know if that makes sense or if it's English, but hopefully it makes sense. Being in the dorm, going to high school, going to see all these plays, watching a bunch of movies, studying, enjoying studying and learning new stuff, you know. I remember at the dorm there was a collection of Alex Rider, the books, and I was like, yo man, that's dope. And I read them by accident, and I kind of love this kind of a novel, you know, very targeted for teenager, you know. And Alex Rider, for those of you who don't know, is basically James Bond if he was 13 years old and working for MI6 in Britain. And I read the whole series because it was all there at the boarding school. And then when later on I moved to Edinburgh and I lived there for like 5-6ish years, I wanted to read the Alex Rider but in English this time. And I remember seeing it on what's the equivalent to eBay in England again? Oh, it's Scotland. It was in Scotland. In Britain, oops, lapsus révélateur ou quoi. But I found the Alex Rider novel series in English. Someone was selling it secondhand, and I remember biking there with my then girlfriend. We went there like downhill, you know, by Arthur's Seat, and to meet the guy and get the books. And he looked exactly like Alex Rider. He was young. He had like the same hairstyle, blonde hair, and he looked like Alex Rider. It was kind of great. And I was like, yo, you look like Alex Rider. It's funny, you know. And we had a wee laugh. And you could tell he was a bit sad to like give the books away. And I was like, oh man, okay, fair. He was like, oh, I really like those books, but you know, I have to make some room. I think you have to make some room. Yeah, random memories, man. And this often roots back to my time in high school and living in the dorm. I think it was my second week of my first year at the dorm. And I was still a bit, wow, this is all new, this is crazy, I'm meeting people from all over the place. And there was this guy, Tony. He stood out because he was one of the only black guys in the dorm. Tony, and he was a super friendly guy. He didn't speak very good English, but we befriended, you know. And there was like this study room on the ground floor of the building. The first floor was for the first and second floor were for the rooms. The ground floor was for the telly room. We're arriving soon. And the ground floor was the telly room and the study area and all that stuff, and the printer room as well. I'm just gonna let this finish. But yeah, okay, whatever. And I remember befriending this guy Tony, you know, really chill guy. Hey bro, what's up? And he came from Mali, right? He came illegally to Spain on a boat, and while he was on the boat, long story short, he got injured, and his situation was critical, and he was basically left for dead on that beach in Spain. But the local authorities found him and then took him to the French border because he wanted to go to France. And then he went up to Paris, started to learn French in 3 months. And I was like, 3 months later, he moved to Strasbourg and he started the school there, and he was in the boarding school. And his story was so touching, man, you know, because he was doing all this obviously to make some money and to send it back to his family in Mali. Just everything that he had been through. And for me, you know, coming from my little countryside where I'd never seen the world but on the TV, you know, on the evening news, it was all like it felt very real, and I gained a lot from that experience, you know. So anyway, the video was quite chaotic, I am aware. I was just yapping about all sort of stuff, just memories, you know. But now I've just arrived in Strasbourg, and I'm gonna go have a bite and meet up with my friend and just chill out, my guy, yes. So, as per usual, peace, love, and music. I hope you have a good day, everyone. Take care.